In this particular video, we are going to go over multi-step equations with now variables on both sides in some cases. So first, number one, we are going to look at negative 18 minus 6k is equal to 6 times 1 plus 3k. As you can see, we have variables on both sides, so I'm going to draw the river or wall around the equal sign to help keep my information more organized. So with that being said, we are going to dive in first. I do not have any like terms to combine on this side, so I'm going to rewrite negative 18 minus 6k. On the other side, however, I have the distributive properties to take care of. So we're going to distribute the 6 through. So I'm left with 6 plus 18k. From here, I'm going to start moving my variables because I have them on each side. So I prefer that we move the one with the smallest amount of the coefficient. So me thinking the opposite of negative 6 would be a positive 6. So I would be adding something to 18. That's a positive number. And then if I was to move the 18 over, I would have to do a negative 18. So I'm going to go with adding 6k to both sides. Okay, I have negative 18 on this side left. And here I have negative 6, positive 6, which cancels. On this side, I have 6 plus 24k. Okay, the next step is to move the 6, and you may wonder, well, why don't you move the 24k? What's stopping you? If I was to put the 24k on this side, the 18, negative 18 and 24k are not like terms. So I need to choose the like term to come over and join the 18. So to do so, it's going to be 6. The opposite of positive 6 is a negative 6, or subtract 6 on both sides. Okay, once we do that, we have negative 18 minus 6, which puts me further into debt, so it's negative 24, is equal to 24k. Now I'm not finished yet because I still have a coefficient in front of k. To get rid of this operation here is multiplication, so I'm going to divide by 24. 24 divided by 24 cancels, so that's 1k. And in 8th grade math 1, we just list that as k. We take the invisible 1 away. And negative 24 divided by 24 is negative 1. So your answer is negative 1k. Okay, we have 3 examples to do today. So on to number 2. Negative in front of your parentheses. 1 plus 7x, close the parentheses. Subtracting 6 minus 7 minus x is equal to 36. Okay, so first of all, I see parentheses, so I know I'm going to need to distribute. Second of all, I also see subtraction signs, so be very, very careful as you are looking at the term because the sign must follow it. It must come with it. So for example, I just see a negative or a subtraction sign outside of the parentheses. I'm going to go ahead and add in that invisible 1 that's hanging out, so I know that I'd multiply each number by negative 1, or I do the opposite of it basically. So negative 1 times a positive 1 is negative 1. Negative 1 times a positive 7x is a negative 7x. Okay, the next section, be very careful because it's not just a positive 6, but it is a negative 6. Okay, so I'm going to take the negative 6 through the parentheses. Again, being very careful because as I look here, it's a negative 6 and a negative 7. Okay, negative times a negative gives me a positive, and then the answer there is 42. The next section is I have negative 6 times a negative x. Again, invisible coefficient in front of there. It's really negative 1. Negative 6 times a negative 1 is a positive number, and that's positive 6, and don't forget the x on it. Okay, and then that is equal to 36. Now from here, we can start moving pieces over our equal sign if we want to, but something else that I noticed is that we have like terms on this side. So I'm going to go through and put the like terms together. So let's go ahead and do -1 and positive 42. As I put those together, I get positive 41. Then let's go ahead and put the -7 and the positive 6 together. Okay, when I do that, I'm left with -1x is equal to 36. Okay, now on the next step it's a two-step equation. We're going to start solving. So some students may be like, well, why can't we move the x? I'm not going to move the x because if I move this to the other side, 36 and the variable are not like terms. So I'm going to need to move the 41 over. So to do so, it's a positive 41. We're going to subtract 41 on each side. 41 minus 41 cancels. So I am left with -1x. And then we need to do 36 minus 41, which is -5. We are not finished yet because we have a negative coefficient for my variable. So the last step is going to be dividing by -1 on both sides. Okay, -1 divided by -1 creates just a positive 1 or a positive 1x. And -5 divided by -1 is a positive 5. So your answer is x is equal to 5. Okay. And just when you thought we were finished and doing a lot, we have one more example for you. That is going to be example number 3. Let me move this out of the way so you can see my writing. So number 3, we're going to try to fit it in on the bottom of this page. -3 times 4x plus 3 plus 4 times 6x plus 1 is equal to 43. So again, don't freak out. We have a lot of combining of like terms and distributive properties to do on this side of the equation sign first. And let me move this so I can scoop my notebook up so you guys can see. Okay, so distributive property first, we're going to take the -3 through, being very careful that it's a -3. So -3 times 4 is -12x. -3 times positive 3 is -9. Okay, now we are going to take the 4 through. No, oops, sorry, it was a positive 4. Let me take that sign with it. 4 times 6 is 24. With the x on that as well. And then 4 times 1 is 4. And then that is equal to 43. Still, maybe I should use the book. Okay. Now before, again, you can start moving things around from here if you want to. I, however, am going to go ahead and start combining my like terms. So I see that I have a -12x and a positive 24x. As I combine those together, and again, you could do the constants or the regular numbers first, but as I combine these together, I am going to just combine my like terms. So we have 12x there, okay, and then the next one is -9 plus 4. And we'll use a circle for those. -9 plus 4. And that is left with a -5. So I'm going to represent that with a subtract 5. You could also do plus a negative if you wanted to. And that is equal to 43. Okay, now this starts to look much nicer. If I'm looking from here up, it's just a two-step equation. 12x minus 5 is equal to 43. So now we got to start doing our inverse operations. I have no more like terms to combine. So the opposite of a subtract 5 is adding 5 to both sides. When I do so, this creates a zero pair, so I'm left with 12x is equal to 48. And then my last and final step is going to be dividing by 12. Okay, and I know it's division because this right here represents multiplication, 12x. So the opposite or inverse of that is dividing by 12. That is left with just 1x, so x is equal to, and 48 divided by 12 is 4. Okay, hope this video has helped guide some practice, guide some understanding and solving multi-step equations. Some of them are going to have variables on both sides. Others are just going to have multiple distributive properties within one problem. So this goes on page 8 of your notebook if you are watching this during the 2020-2021 virtual learning, and your work is going to go on page 9 from the Google form. Again, your independent practice is going to go on page 9. If you are watching this video during the virtual learning in the year 2020 and 2021, examples, page 8, independent practice, page 9. Best of luck to you, and I am available for help.